Welcome to another edition of Dad's Divorce Live. I'm Matt Allen, editor of DadsDivorce.com. Today we're talking with Robert Franklin, who is the managing editor and a member of the board of directors of Fathers and Families. He is also an attorney for over 30 years and a father's rights advocate. We'll be talking with Robert about his organization's political agenda for 2011 as it looks to make sweeping family court reforms throughout the country. So, Robert, thanks for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
Now, first off, I want to highlight several key issues that Fathers and Families will be targeting this year. First off, one of the biggest issues and one of the biggest double standards in family court that we see and hear about from our visitors and readers has to do with child support and parenting time, where the courts always tell us that these issues of child support and visitation are independent of each other. Yet if you're late with your child support, it's very likely that you'll end up in jail time or some sort of severe punishment. Yet if the custodial parent, which is almost always the mother, denies your parenting time, it seems like it isn't as enforced with the same type of vigor as missed child support payments. So what is your organization looking to do about that this coming year?
You're exactly right about the non-enforcement of visitation. It's one of the main ways in which family courts serve to marginalize fathers in the lives of their children.
Right.
What we are doing in California is that, amazingly enough, in California, courts do not have the explicit expressed authority to enforce visitation orders. So that our listeners will understand, courts have inherent authority via the contempt process to enforce their orders. So if they issue an order and someone violates it, they can hold them in contempt. And the penalties for being in contempt of court are many, and they run from fines to having court costs ordered to be paid, all the way up to imprisonment. Amazingly enough, family courts do not, in California, do not, as a matter of statute, have that authority in visitation matters. They clearly do have that authority in child support matters. So when child support is not paid, as we all know, the law is swift and severe. In visitation matters, it's not so. So what we are doing in California is introducing a bill that would give the courts the power, the statutory power to enforce visitation orders. It's something that should have been done, decades ago.
Now, staying on child support, the past couple of years we read every day about child support roundups of deadbeat dads. Part of what exacerbates that problem is with the economy, the way it's been the past couple of years, and the high unemployment rate, is that dads who they just can't even afford to pay child support, and then on top of that, the back child support accumulates with interest charged on the arrears. Now, I know you guys are trying to do something about those interest charges. What exactly are you looking to change?
Well, we're looking to get rid of them altogether, and failing that, to reduce them. In California, some 75% of all child support arrearage is not child support at all, but interest due on back child support. In Massachusetts, we were successful in reducing the child support interest rate by 50%. Let me point out something to your listeners, that in New Jersey, every 6 months they conduct a sweep of non-custodial parents who are behind on their child support. In other words, they come to their door and arrest them and say, you can either go to jail or you can pay.
Right.
The last time they did that was about a month ago, and they collected 1.2 cents on the dollar owed. What that means is that these people, when faced with either prison or pay, they cannot pay. What that means is that the people who are behind on their child support are not unwilling to pay; they're unable to pay.
Right.
And a lot of that is a result of interest rates. So we have a bill before the California legislature to do away with interest rates altogether, and failing that, to sharply reduce them.
Now, staying on the same line of finances, what are you guys looking to do with alimony reform?
Alimony is an amazing thing in many different ways. One of the main abuses of alimony is that the issue of double dipping. So if the father or the husband owns a business and he and the wife get divorced, she gets half of the business, but her alimony is calculated on 100% of the business's profits. Therefore, she double dips.
Sure.
We're going to prevent that. We have a bill before the California legislature to do that. We're also limiting court-required payout of assets in marriages of less than 10 years, and we're going to set caps on how much gross alimony courts can order obligors to pay, and the number of years for which it can be paid.
Another big issue you guys are looking to reform is false allegations of abuse. They're often very difficult to combat, and they're often, unfortunately, used strategically in custody battles. So how is Fathers and Families, how are you guys looking to change that?
The main way is to require courts to issue basically a sort of Miranda warning. What we find is that when a marriage is in conflict or a relationship is in conflict, a father or husband will wind up in front of a judge faced with an allegation of abuse. Many of these, of course, are false allegations,
right,
made to promote child custody for the mother. And what he often does is to simply agree that an order should issue against him, and he's doing that in order to buy peace, and he doesn't understand the consequences in terms of his ability to get custody, his parenting time for visitation purposes, employment issues, and his name being on a domestic violence registry. So what we are going to require is that the judge inform him of the consequences of his actions, and what we anticipate is that there will be far fewer fathers and husbands who will simply agree to these temporary restraining orders.
Right. That seems strange that they're not already told of the consequences.
Yeah, and in fact, they're often misled. And you know that this is a temporary matter. You can contest it later, and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
They're generally not lied to, but the full impact of what the results or what the consequences are, they're not aware of, and they only learn about that later to their own dismay.
Well, Robert, I want to thank you for taking time to join me, and best of luck in 2011 with Fathers and Families' legislative agenda.
We had excellent results last year. We had 7 bills passed in the California, Arizona, and Indiana legislatures, and we intend to have an even better year this year. Thank you for having me on.
Great. Well, continued success. For our listeners who want to learn more about Robert's organization, you can visit fathersandfamilies.org. That'll do it for this edition of Dad's Divorce Live. I'm Matt Allen, editor of DadsDivorce.com.